BTL coming at you. Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else the viewer wants to talk about today. Matthew, how you doing?
I don't think you've changed that intro in 9 years of sitting across from you doing this.
Well, it's the first time that we're going to dedicate an entire show to the viewer, to the listener, to where they're going to get an opportunity to call in on the Sunline Hotline and just talk about anything they want to talk about.
Big day yesterday. The Bass Pro Tour Stage 1 Shotgun Round 1. 40 of the 80 anglers competing on Lake Toho, and the live coverage throughout the day that started at, was it 10 o'clock Eastern time, saw Randy Howell get on a school and put the hurting on him. He had, well, I had it pulled up, but he had over 40 pounds. He had 26 fish for 49 pounds, 12 ounces, with an average rate of 1 pound, 15 ounces. So he leads the way after the first day of the Bass Pro
Group
Tour.
1.
Group 1. So
Group 1.
I guess he leads Group 1.
Group 1.
He leads the tournament now.
No. He leads Group 1.
Okay.
You have to change the way that you think.
So there's
Matthew.
no tournament leader until after the 2 days? The first 2 days?
No, because then they drop weights, correct?
Right.
So you really don't have a tournament leader until you get to what?
The last day? This is going to take some getting used to.
No.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's no tournament leader.
So 20th then would be Stephen Browning with 13 pounds.
In Group 1.
So 13, 23, 33, 43. He's got a 35-pound cushion.
But it doesn't matter.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why would he even why would he even go and beat his fish up? Why would he not just save him for the semifinal round?
Do you seriously think that they might be there 2 days later? Or a day later?
I have no idea. I'm just saying. He's going to be fishing with these.
You can't think the same way, Matthew.
Randy Howell has at least
make the top 20.
A $6,000 check headed his way in 3 days.
You just gotta make sure you catch him and make the top 20 and move on down the road.
I got it. So that was
there is
day
no
one.
tournament leader.
All right, how are we starting this off? Them letting you lead the discussion on this.
What, on yesterday?
Yeah.
Man, you know, here, I'm just going to say this to start off. Matthew, there are going to be people, and I'm sure we're going to hear from them today when they start to call in. There are people that are passionate about both sides of the fence on this one. Some think it's the greatest thing ever created for the fan, for the viewer, for the sponsors, for the anglers. And then you have other people that just, they don't like it. And then you got people that are in between. You're just like, so what? It is what it is. Let's move on down the road. It's fishing. I get to watch it. It is what it is. For the first time, because it's so different, I think we are creating a situation that is going to divide people. Agreed or disagree?
I agree. Is that a bad thing?
I don't know,
man. Is
man.
Passion for the sport, whether it is in favor of one organization, in favor of the other, not liking what you saw, loving what you saw, is the fact that it is eliciting emotion good for the sport as a whole, regardless of what that emotion is?
I really believe that anybody that is involved in this game from a recreational standpoint, to the Tuesday night jackpot, to the BFLs, the Opens, the Costas, whatever it is, there's this one word, and it's passion. Mm-hmm. All right. And I think the people out there, the fans, are very passionate about the way that they feel about what is taking place in the professional tournament fishing game. And I believe it's going to be divided for a while, Matthew. I think the only portion that may grow from a viewer standpoint is I really believe after yesterday, you're not going to get a whole lot of people sway from one side to the other. I think the people that were in the middle of, okay, well, this is cool and they got issues, but you know what? They'll probably get them fixed. They're going to put the money into it to get all the issues.
They'll still watch both.
They'll still watch both. They'll watch all three. All right? Those are the people that I think are going to be the meat of what the consumer base that the sponsors are trying to persuade to buy their products. Because the bottom line is this, all right? Even if you have the people that are very passionate and, you know, are enormously excited about what's taking place, the people that aren't, that are just grouchy and grumpy and don't like and want to complain and just say, this is stupid, why are we not weighing 5 fish, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with either one of those sides. What I'm saying is the bottom line is this, Matthew. If the money is not there, it doesn't matter. And the number one consideration, I think, in this thing being successful is how much money is going to be generated by the companies that are positioning their products with all three trails. Because the bottom line is this. If you don't see results from the investment that you are making in whatever trail or tour you are sponsoring, the money's going to go away. And we've seen this on all three. All right, think back when ESPN owned Bass and that whole situation about they brought in a number of sponsors. All right, they hung around for 2 or 3 years and then they were gone. All right, maybe they decided to take a different direction, but at the same time, if it is an outstanding revenue-making, generating revenue machine, they're going to stay.
Correct.
All right, and I really think from a business perspective, that is going to be the key to the longevity of this whole thing because, you know, it's no secret you got a lot of money pushed in by some people that have a lot of money. And if they continue to lose money or not make the amount of money that they are expecting, they're not going to continue to invest. I mean, that's just simple business principles there. If it is not a profitable product over the years, they're not going to continue to bleed. Now, who's to say it's profitable or it's losing money? We don't know. But what I do know is they spent an enormous amount of money yesterday. People, I don't think you understand how expensive it is to live stream and the way that they were doing it and the employee cost, the equipment cost, the software, the technology, the platform. That is hundreds of thousands of dollars that they spent yesterday. All right, and I'm probably saying too much, and I really want to get to the viewers, but I think it's important that there have been entities that have formed leagues, organizations, events, all right, that have went flawless. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples because I thought about this last night.
You mean right off the start?
Huh?
You mean right off the start?
Yeah. One of them was the XFL. All right, now, some people out there may say, oh, yeah, but they had that blackout during the whole Saturday Night Live thing. If anybody's familiar or you've seen the XFL documentary on 30 for 30, yeah, they had that issue, but
it was a smashing success for the first 3 weeks.
It was enormously great. And think about how much time and money that Vince McMahon invested in the XFL. Now, obviously, as it progressed, people lost interest because it just wasn't what people thought it was going to be, and there was a lot of other reasons. But a very, very intriguing documentary that is in the 30 for 30 series. All right. Another one is, and I'm sorry, man, I'm going to say it.
The PBT.
The PBA.
PBA.
All right. Their extra frame product, of which the people are paying for the live stream coverage.
That's bowling, folks.
They are paying. The Professional Bowlers Association has a product called Extra Frame. You've seen it. We've talked about it on this show. They have multiple cameras, multiple streaming stations all across the bowling center. And the very first time that they launched that, flawless. I know because I watched it. All right. So I've said this throughout the last couple of weeks. You have one chance to make a first impression. One chance. So now let's see what happens on day 1 of Group 2 today. Let's see if they're able to correct some of the issues. And folks, I'm going to be honest with you. It is enormously difficult to live stream from the water. We've seen it. And here's another thing that I thought about, Matthew. The very first one-on-one live that we did it go flawless? No, it did not. We had audio issues. And I'm still getting comments on YouTube about the screeching that came through on the audio, right? Have we got it fixed? Yeah, we put in the time and effort. But you can check and recheck, and something always seems to go wrong, all right? I say for all those people out there where the stream didn't work, all right, same thing for me. Buffering, had to reload. Okay, you have a first impression. You do. But I think at the same time, let's see what happens. You agree, Matthew?
Yeah, that's a good business analysis.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what happens.
I'll go a little bit more just to briefly give kind of my thoughts. I got two kind of things that came to mind based on yesterday. And the first is that MLF was up against it with their live coverage before they even said the first word on air, because based on some interviews that had been done by Boyd Duckett, and based on what they were promising, they set the bar extremely high. Agreed?
Expectations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on what?
Yeah.
Now, those expectations were set high because Bass Live, when it first came on, what, 5 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
There was buffering issues. There were commentators talking over anglers.
Yeah.
There were frozen anglers on the screen. There were repeat commercials that ran 8 million times. But that was the first show in town. No one else had ever seen anything like that. So there was a grace period there where everyone was like, holy cow, we just got to watch him catch a fish live. I can handle the fact that, Kevin Van Dam is frozen on the screen for 10 minutes because this is awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you see with that? You saw a progression of better and better and better. And then what happened? FLW launched FLW Live. So what happened to FLW? Well, then they got compared to Bass Live.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes, well, Bass Live has this. Well, FLW worked through their issues. Then FLW got it working.
Yeah.
Flawlessly. So now you've got two that are flawlessly. So now MLF comes in. Bass wasn't compared to anybody. FLW was compared to Bass. And now Major League Fishing is compared to the FLW product and the Bass product. So you're getting 3 layers of criticism that the other 2 major organizations have already worked through that MLF is experiencing in their first day here. Now, should some of those things maybe have been...
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know exactly what happened there. But I'm saying I think that was why if you look on social media, there's a lot of criticism over the quality of the live feed, was because of the expectations that had been built on the 2 previous organizations, which did not have that level of scrutiny going into their first live broadcast. The second thing, which is a really quick analogy, is I was watching it, and afterwards I was trying to think, how can you kind of summarize what today was? And I said, here's the way I'd summarize it. I say, you go to a restaurant, and the baker comes out, and he says he's going to bake you the greatest cake in the world. Mm-hmm. But he hasn't baked that cake before.
Okay.
But he knows that he's got the recipe and things.
Yeah.
You get the cake. It's a good cake. It's okay. It's not great. But all the ingredients are in there to make it a great cake. The more that baker bakes that cake, the better that thing's going to get. The more he's going to get it tuned in. And eventually, I think it's going to be a pretty darn good cake. But right now, it's a cake, but it's not the greatest cake you've ever tasted, even though you were promised the greatest cake.
All right, that's not bad, but here's the deal. How many people are going to have that cake and go, you know what? That cake sucked. I'm not a cake person. That was not what I expected.
A portion of it. It's kind of like the same people who maybe go to a restaurant once and it wasn't the greatest experience.
They don't go back.
And they never go back. But there's also people who will go, you know what? I'm going to give it another try.
Exactly.
And maybe when they go back, it becomes one of their favorite restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to take a break. Right there below our video is the Sunline hotline. The number is 405-253-5543. We're going to take a break. For the remainder of the show, we're going to take your calls. By the way, who do you think would be leading it? I have some stats here that I want to give before we go to break.
Hit those stats.
Who do you think would be leading it if we did the 5 best.
Well, I know because I gave you. I got these stats from an individual to put them together.
Randall Tharp, 22 pounds, 9 ounces. Second place would be Zach Burge, 21.9. Ish Monroe in third place, 21.8. Fourth, Ott Defo, 18.11. Fifth, Mark Daniels Jr., 16.12. And in sixth place, the current leader of Group 1 after day 1, Randy Howell, 16.8. Here's some other stats. Out of 40 anglers, 25 anglers averaged less than 2 pounds. 14 anglers averaged greater than 2 pounds per fish. And then there was 1 angler that averaged over 3 pounds out of the 40 anglers, and that was Randall Tharp. So some interesting stats there. 10th place would be, if you counted the best 5, 14 pounds.
And it's interesting that Burge and Ish would have flipped, one of them second, third, and they would have. But Matt Lee is way lower than he would have been if you had just taken his top 5. But all in all, the top 20 are going to be the top 20 if you catch them, and then the weight 0, and then none of this stuff matters. I think Randy might have gotten a little bit of bonus for leading that first round, but that's it.
All right.
Not points, money.
All right, we're going to take a break. Come back with your phone calls right here on BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
It's about the hours spent getting everything just right. It's the attention to detail. Good just isn't good enough. It's the years spent on the water day after day. When you tie on a bait by Strike King, you're standing on the shoulders of legends.
Pros depend on hydraulic jack plates to get the best out of their boats. Do what they do. Demand Atlas performance. Atlas gets you from the bottom to the top in less than 8 seconds, even with the big 4-strokes. And when you gotta turn right around and get that heavy load back up in rough water, Atlas's innovative design and American-made components will get you there with confidence.
I'm Ott Defo. Just look for yourself. There's an Atlas jack plate on just about every professional's boat.
The Atlas hydraulic jack plate. You can depend on it.
Hey guys, Aaron Martins here. I'm going to be telling you about a new product by Sunline. It's Siglon PE x8. I've been using it almost extensively all year for my frogging, flipping, drop shotting, shaky heading, worming, jerk baiting. It's by far my favorite Sunline braid. And I honestly, this is, I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly, it's the best braid in the market of any of the braids. Definitely check it out. It's a price point line, $14.95 for 165 yards, and that could last you a whole year, just one spool with using leader material. Again, it's Siglon PE ×8. It's my favorite braid, and I think if you use it, it'll be your favorite braid too.
AFCO has a new foul weather rain suit called the Hydronaut. A lot of the features that I really like about it first is the speed vent hood. If it's raining out, you know, how a person gets wet is when you run down the lake and the hood comes down. With the speed vent hood, it's going to stay up. It has a camera mount in the pocket on the chest. The Hydronaut has a 2-layer, 100% waterproof nylon shell. If you're interested in a rain suit that has a lot of cool features that's going to keep you dry, you need to check out the Hydronaut from AFCO.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday. And Matthew, you ready to go to the phones? Good grief.
Yeah. Maybe they can get some shaving tips from some of our viewers. This is the
I'm a little cut up.
This is the third show in a row that you've come in with a bloody chin.
I know, man.
What is with that?
I don't know. Maybe I forgot how to shave. I don't know.
You know what? You want to hear something weird? This is
What's
weird.
that?
We're at the U.S. Open. And I'd forgotten my razor, and I was rooming with Brad Hallman there because I drove out there with him and stuff.
Okay.
And I said, I got to go buy a razor. He goes, no, you don't. You can use mine. Well, he has a straight razor with it's like the double-sided deal where you dispose of it.
Oh,
so you get a brand new blade every shave.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to teach you how to shave like a man. So I got the little brush thing, and I shave like that. And I went out and bought one the day I got back from the U.S. Open. That's how I've been shaving ever since. It took me 2 months, about 2 months, about the beginning of this month before I wasn't cutting myself every single time. No. It is a close, smooth shave. You might want to look into that.
I might. All right. The remainder of the show, we're going to go to the phone lines, and we have our first caller, Luke from Missouri. Luke, you there, man?
I'm here. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. We appreciate you being the first caller and taking time out. What's on your mind?
Just sitting here rigging some poles, watching your guys' show on YouTube, getting ready for a couple derbies this weekend. I watched the MLF live stream yesterday, and I was kind of like you guys. I think it could be good, but there was a few things that really bothered me about it.
What's that?
I didn't like how they kept switching from anglers every 45 seconds to a minute. Like they would switch from Ish to Edwin to Horton within a 3 or 4 minute span. It never gave you any time to really watch what the people were doing.
All right, let me ask you this, Luke. I'm going to ask you a question. The big thing about Major League Fishing is being different, all right? They're trying, obviously, to establish their own brand with their own format and all that. How cool would it be if they would differentiate between what Bass and FLW is doing in giving the viewers the opportunity that if they had 8 cameras or 8 anglers on the water, the viewer would have the opportunity to watch whatever 8 anglers that he wants to. In other words, if you want to watch, whoever, you can watch them, and you can watch them the entire time. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that would be a great idea. I mean, that was to me is that yesterday all I seen is I felt like, I knew they had some glitches and stuff, which was I figured would happen with it being the first show. I'm not saying anything was going to be perfect. But I figured that once somebody was catching them, they would kind of zone in on that guy for a little bit, and they really didn't to me. But, the going to whoever you want to watch, because, every person has a different style. Maybe I want to watch somebody that's flipping because I enjoy to flip, or maybe I want to watch how Randy Howe was fishing his hard spot out in front of the canal. You can something you want to work on or watch somebody else do. Why not watch some of the best in the world sit there and do it?
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why there is the PBA, and I'm going back to the bowling reference, why their extra frame has been so successful is they really identify, and you can watch an entire game of whatever pro that you want to watch during that squad, during that qualifying. So I think from a business standpoint, too, it would be a huge opportunity for sponsors to get involved when the fans know that they're going to be able to watch one specific angler. What do you think about that, Luke?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I don't know what does the PBA charge to watch that?
I think it's $10 a month, $9.95 a month.
Yeah, I mean, as much money as we all spend on fishing, if you want to watch the guy that you want to watch, you'll spend $10 a month to watch whoever in that event.
Yeah. Well, see, here's a question: are you going to watch today?
I am. Before I go to work, I watched before I went to work and on my lunch break yesterday. So I mean, I wasn't saying I watched all day, but what I was watching, it was pretty much the same consistently throughout.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else?
That's it. Hoping the warm weather unthaws a little of the ice this weekend so we can get out and hit the lake and
That's what I was saying.
fish.
Where are you fishing in Missouri? Is this like 0 degrees up there right now?
Well, I fished the Bass and Bob Winter Series last weekend and did awful. And then hopefully on Stockton and Palm de Terre Lake here in Missouri this weekend.
Awesome. That's just a couple hours north of me, actually, up in the Tulsa area. So.
All right, very
Gotta
cool,
get
man.
all the A-rigs.
Hey.
Gotta get all the A-rigs rigged up.
Hey, thanks for making the first call to our show today, man. Greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, take
Ready
care.
to continue watching. You guys have a good day.
All right,
Bye.
see you. All right, that's Luke from Missouri. So just in case, folks, if there is a caller on the show, you can call in, and then I think it's going to go to voicemail or some message or something. Just call right back, and as soon as he hangs up, then we'll go
You do
to
have
the next
everything
caller.
worked out, though. It's very nice.
I
You're
think so,
serving
yeah.
as the host and the producer here answering
Yeah.
the calls. So
Yeah.
that was the other thing we didn't talk about in the first segment was the post-game show.
I have some thoughts on that, and if you're trying to showcase performance, and I've always been a huge proponent of, hey man, if you went out and you produced, no matter what the format is, that is what truly needs to be showcased.
Top 10 guys instead of all 40.
There's no need, in my opinion, there is no need to have guys up there who failed.
Now, I will tell you this. I watched it until Justin Lucas came up because he had one fish. He is, in my opinion, I would just like to watch how he does because I like how he fishes. I wanted to see what he had to say because he only caught one.
Yeah.
So I waited until then. To be honest with you, I think that post-game show will look drastically different by the end of the year than it does on the first day.
Agree with you 100%.
That was a learning experience for everyone involved, and Lurch did a masterful job in that. He did a great job. And,
a very difficult job.
But the problem is, it was long, and I really didn't realize how important, even if you have an idea on Bass Track, what the guys have.
Yeah.
When there's like 0, nothing, no hold.
Do you remember when I said this? And they have spent an enormous amount of money on this stage and the entire setup and everything. It looks unbelievable. But when you know what the outcome is, you know pretty much what the guys have been doing. Where is the whiffum to be there?
No, I agree.
You know what the whiffum is? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Why should I come to this?
Unless you have an angler that you just wanted to watch and actually hear what they had to say. But I wanted to hear what Randy Howell had to say. I turned it off after 2 hours. I had a life to live. But I will say this. This was a home run for Major League Fishing in this aspect. The stage where Lurch can step down onto the stage, get in the angler's boat, the camera angle that shows the angler's entire rig, they're standing on the front deck of the boat. His title sponsor on the side of the boat is showing all of his sponsors. It's lit because of the black background with it's dark outside and the lights are on them. It looks awesome. If I'm a sponsor and I'm paying to put Bass Zone on the side of a boat, I'm still going to be like super happy about that, even if it is a 2.5 hour deal. And not
we'll get into that. We'll get into that here in a minute.
But it was the first time in a drive-through that showcased the boat, the wrap, the motor, the whole package.
I'm going to get into that here in a minute. All right, let's go to the phones. Who is this?
Hey, this is Stephen Walden.
I'm sorry, who is it?
Stephen Walden.
Stephen, where are you calling from?
I am calling from 75 South. I'm on my way to go fish the Costa Series down there in Lake Okeechobee.
Nice.
Okay, cool. All right, so what are your thoughts today?
I had a question, kind of off topic, kind of on topic. You know how they've speaking of FLW and BASS, the reason why they lost some of their view. Well, not lost some of their viewership, but viewership's interests are peaked because of you got payouts, you got these increasing tournament fees to enter in all these tournaments, and they're saying they're having higher payouts, but everything is kind of staying the same. You have the top ends going up, but everything's kind of staying the same. I wonder what you guys' interpretation was on that.
I mean, it is what it is. It is the business model that they have chosen. That's the path that they're going to go down. I think the lower tiered events, I think they're really trying to push the fact that this is how you're going to make it to the next level. And the price that you have to pay to make it to that next level, you really don't reap the rewards unless obviously you win one or finish in second place from a monetary standpoint. But it is their business model, and man, it really comes down to it, and I've said this a zillion times, these organizations are in business to do one thing, and that's make money. And they have to generate a certain amount of revenue in order to stay viable. You cannot continue to make minimal amounts of profits or very small profits or even lose money and still make it viable for the industry. So that is the business model that the organizations have chosen. Is it the right thing from an angler standpoint? Maybe, maybe not, but they are providing a platform for anglers that if this is truly what you want to do, this is the path that you're going to have to take. Be it maybe a little painful and the rewards aren't, reaped right away, but it is the path to where if you want to make it to the big leagues, this is how you got to do it.
Do you think they're really losing money, though? I mean, these tournament organizations are getting paid from the cities that they host in to have the events there, and then on top of that, they're getting the sponsorship dollars, and then on top of that, they're getting all the tournament fees paid by the anglers that are fishing them themselves.
Now, I agree, but the amount of money that these communities, especially for Costas,
not as much as you would think.
It's not that much. We've done research. We've talked about it on this show. Even the Major League Fishing event, there was a story in the Conroe, Texas newspaper about how much that the community paid to bring Major League Fishing there. So it is not that much money that the communities, I'd say on average between $10,000 and maybe $25,000.
I think that's right on. And then also a lot of some of the compensation is for the tournament staff, their hotel rooms and stuff for the week too. That's another way that they get.
There's a lot of stuff. Hey, as an angler and somebody that is putting a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort into what you're trying to do, I get what you're saying. And is it a little top heavy in some of them? Absolutely. But this is the decision that is made from a business standpoint to where these organizations must remain profitable in order to have those platforms.
Cool. Understood. All
right.
Are you guys going to be at the Bassmaster Classic? That was my next question.
Absolutely. I'm going to be helping out Ike and Pete Glusick again with they're doing BU, Bass University Live. At the Classic, and then we're going to be doing some really cool stuff. We're not going to be doing BTL Live or anything like that because we are working toward a special project that we're going to be working on during the Classic that is going to be really cool. So yeah, very excited. Probably the most unique Classic that I've ever attended. Will be 100%.
Well, I'll see you there. I worked with you last year. I was with the Bass University. Big guy with the red beard.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
So I look forward to seeing you guys, man. Y'all take care. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love your show. I listen to it. I'm glad that you guys are on more. So the content is I can't get enough of it. I watch it every day. Y'all come on.
All right, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
You guys take care.
All right. See ya. He was headed to the Costa?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, on Okeechobee.
All right, let's go.
You know, I did an article that like every major tournament organization at every single level was in Florida in like a 30-day period.
Yeah.
Like literally everything.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones again. Hey, who is this? Who is this?
Paul Linker.
Hey, Paul, where are you calling from, man?
Tulsa.
All right, what's on your mind today?
Man, I think everybody just needs to calm down and give them a chance to get stuff worked out and quit griping about it. I mean, it's a free service. No one's having to pay for it. If it was something you were having to pay for and they were having problems with it, you know, that would be one thing. But let them sit down and figure out the problems, figure out how the format's going to go, and everybody sit back and enjoy it, right?
That's a valid point.
He has a valid point. Now, let me ask you this. How long do you give them to get all the kinks worked out? 1 tournament, 2 tournaments? You give them the entire 2019 season to get everything back on track?
Well, you know, the thing about it is it was a live production.
Mm-hmm.
It really didn't go that bad. I think halfway through the year they'll have it worked out. I mean, they still have problems on Bass Live,
yep,
you know, from time to time. But they're going to, if everybody keeps griping, they're going to really limit the lakes that these guys go to, because if there is any chance of sketchy service, they're not going to go there.
That's a great point that I don't know if we've actually brought up on the show, but Mark, would you not agree that there have been tournament venues nixed on the basis of limited live coverage?
Yeah,
in the past 4 years?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, you know that's a big part of how they're choosing their venue.
It has to be. I mean, it is.
And if everybody's going to social media and throwing a fit every time they have a glitch, it's going to become more important.
I agree. Great points.
That's my thoughts.
Good points, man.
But I enjoyed it, and this thing has also. I never watched FLW live. I was straight bass. Now I watch all of it. So I think it's good for the sport.
All right, I'm going to ask you the question. Would you be willing to pay $10 a month if you could watch an angler exclusively?
No. I'm really a fan of all the guys. There's probably only one that I don't care to ever see. So, you know, I like the variety. I think that's the appeal of it.
All right. Sounds good, man. Appreciate you calling.
Good call.
All
right, take care.
Thanks, guys.
I really wanted to ask him who that one was.
I don't. We don't need to go down that path, Matthew.
I know. I didn't. I didn't go down that path.
Yeah, once again, folks, I've discussed it. We are in the trenches. We've been involved with live streaming. I have been involved with live streaming in all aspects, not just fishing, but high school sports, college sports. And it is a very, very difficult task to accomplish what all 3 organizations are trying to accomplish. And bottom line, Matt, if you don't have a signal, you're not going to get the product.
Right. And what you're also is very easy to overlook, because Bass and FLW and Major League Fishing yesterday to an extent did such a good job of it. Is you come back from a commercial break, you are on this chain of lakes, Toho, you're on the water, you have cameramen, you have all of this crazy stuff going on. You forget that this is you have an angler that his job is out there to catch fish, not to make sure that you get content.
Yeah.
So you're talking about in less than an hour, you're shooting this stuff, you're getting this footage back to the truck, you're editing it, you're rendering it in the right format, you're putting it into what looked like a TV production highlight reel, then you're feeding it through the live guys that are on the stage, who are then integrating that highlight footage into the live fishing, where they can't hear the anglers but have an earpiece in their ear, where someone else from the production truck is telling them that they're about to run the highlight that they're about to run, and all you do is sit there and watch it, and it goes flawlessly, and you don't notice it because of how well it's pulled off. But it is an absolute channels going everywhere, all sorts of different stuff happening, and it all has to happen on a tee for it to look good.
Yeah, you're dead on. All right, let's go back to the phones. Who is this?
This is Bob from Wisconsin.
Bob, how are you, man?
Bob's cold.
Good. Good. How are you guys?
Probably warmer than you.
Yeah, it's about negative 25 here this morning, so wish I was where you guys were.
All right, man. What's on your mind this morning?
Hey, just wanted to call in. Love your show. Listen to you guys forever. I think I actually fished against Matt in some college events and Bass Nation events, so
nice.
Cool to be able to talk to you guys. But wanted to mention, I thought it went pretty well yesterday for the first day of production. But wanted to get your guys' thoughts on how they place the 20th through, or I guess 21st through 40th anglers in each group. After these first 2 days, or I guess first 4 days of competition, it sounds like there's going to be a weighted average of determining points for those guys. And to me, it seems unfair only if, let's say Randy Howell, he caught 50 pounds yesterday for the top guy in Group A, and then top guy in Group B, let's say he catches 100 pounds today, and then let's say 30th place in each group catches 10 pounds each. There's a weighted average against that top guy, and it seems unfair to me that they would both catch 10 pounds, but one guy's weighted average is going to be more than the other if you base it on the top guy of each day. Does that make sense, guys?
100%. And what they're trying to do is use that to judge the difficulty of the day, to say this guy was closer to the leader than the other guy was, so he's going to finish whatever the fraction of the point ahead of him. But I'm with you. I don't like it.
It's interesting. I don't know if I have a better solution at this point. Maybe you take a weighted average off of the top guy overall. I don't know if that would be more fair.
There is I can't think of any good solution. Now, that will only affect the anglers who finish 41st to 80th.
Right.
Correct.
No, actually 21st. Because you remember they're in groups.
No, but 20 out of each one move on, and then their weights are zeroed, so then there's 40 that start with 0.
But what about the guys that finish 21st to 40th?
They finish 40th. The guys who finish 21st to 40th finish 40th because you take the top 20 out of each group, and that's 40. So now even though you finish 21st in yours, you're either going to finish 41st or 42nd based on the weighting.
Right.
I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but, I mean, let's say you've got a Randall Tharp in your group who is really good on Lake Toho and catches 100 pounds, and the guy in group in Group B, even when those fish weren't biting, and they were biting on Group A, but the leader, doesn't have a guy who finds a honey hole, and it's more of a grind, even though they're biting better. You're going to have guys who are a point. You're going to have someone who misses cups by a point because of the weighting.
Right.
You look at what it comes down to on the Elite Series for 8 events with 100 points for each one, and there's always a guy who's a point out. So you're going to have a guy who misses it, who misses the chance at a couple $100,000 in a TV show with one of these 4 cups or even the Red Crest because of a weighting system, not because of what he caught.
I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm going to have to put a little bit more thought into that one.
And I haven't seen the actual algorithm.
Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff, man.
It's in the rules on Bass Fan if you guys want to look at it from a couple days ago, I think.
Okay.
But anyways, thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Take care. Stay warm.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, see you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
I kind of got off on a tangent there, but that one point bothers me because I've done at least 3 or 4 stories in the past about how an ounce here or 65th instead of a 64th place finish here matters. And now you have results that are being affected based on something that's going on off of the water.
Yeah. Mark in Minnesota has a technical question, and I actually want to ask you because I watched about 3 hours of it yesterday. Did they do instant replay at all?
No, I don't know if they did instant replay. I know that a lot of the times they would go to an angler and then they would have a little highlight clip of how his morning went or of how he caught previous fish.
But they wouldn't have any instant replay.
Don't quote me on that. They might.
For the time that you watched, did you see instant replay?
Not that I remember.
I don't remember either for 3 hours. Anyway, he's asking about, is there a delay from the time that the signal gets sent from the guys on the water back to the production truck or wherever the feed's going to? Typically there is. And if you notice sometimes, the guys back at the, news desk or whatever you want to call it, studio desk, they're going to know that somebody's hooked up because of the delay if they're in communication with the camera guy.
And that bass, I think, increased their delay, and that's why you're seeing a lot more smoothness in the bass and FLW live, because they know 20 seconds in advance, and this is the way I haven't done this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it behind the stage, but they know 15, 20 seconds in advance that someone's about to hook up, so the commentators can stop talking. Travis can cue it up, or Tommy can cue it up. Everyone's quiet. Bam, hook set.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a coincidence that every time they cut to someone, they jam one. I mean, but it's still live.
It's still a great job.
Still live. It's not like it's...
There are so many pieces to the puzzle that make that happen and make that flow the way that it does. It's pretty impressive. But I do not recall any instant replay. Maybe somebody can throw it out there on the instant feedback. All right, let's go back to the phones. Who is this?
Landon Tucker from Georgia.
Landon.
What's up, Mark?
How are you, man? Good to hear from you.
I'm good. Hey, I want you to remember back about 7 years ago, I guess, Fort Madison, Iowa. Remember that little kid that was annoying y'all in the hotel?
I've been following you. I keep up late at Sensi stuff.
Yeah.
You've been around the professional tournament scene for the majority of your life.
Yes. Yeah, a while. Dude, I'm liking this stuff. I'm liking it, and from what y'all just said about the instant replay, no, I didn't see the instant replay either on anything, but they do have the stream up from yesterday. I saw that.
The replay.
Yeah.
But you got hooked. You got hooked into it. I mean, as far as got engaged into it and following what was happening.
Yeah. That post game show did kind of get a little long, which they'll figure that out eventually. But it's all just been a wait and see, really, and that's what it's been for months, and that's what it still is actually. But I'm liking it.
So they delivered for you, based on what you thought it would be and what it was. Happy camper.
Yes.
Very nice.
All right. Anything else, man?
I don't think so. Those guys down at they're going to fish the coast at Okeechobee are going to have a hard time getting around probably. I just fished the BFL there this past weekend, and it wasn't fun. There was only 11 limits caught out of 120 boats.
Wow. Grass not in great shape there? No. I found a few places with a little bit of hydrilla and some eelgrass, and I couldn't even get to most of the islands just because the water's down so much. It's down 3 or 4 foot. So I mean, there's guys getting stuck a lot. I got stuck once, and there was a lot of guys just in the rim ditch. I know that's where I caught my fish at, but yeah, it wasn't fun. And the water temperature dropped 7 or 8 degrees down there, and those Florida fish don't like that. Well, basically you're in Georgia and being down in Florida, you got pretty much every single tournament trail in Florida right now in the next 3 weeks, so you've got to be happy about that.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Yeah, we're do what?
No, I was going to tell you, it's been, what'd you say, 7 years?
It's been, I'm not sure how many years, man. It's that tournament Kevin Short won in Iowa at Fort Madison, Iowa on the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
I remember that's the first time I saw y'all, and I got I was fascinated by BTL by then at that point, and I still keep up with you guys a lot.
All right, very cool, man. Appreciate you calling.
Yep. Yeah, thanks, Matt.
See ya,
Mark.
All right, see ya. All right. Back to the phones, Matthew. Let's see here. Hey, who is this?
Hi, this is Troy.
Troy, how are you, man?
Good. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, you got Mark and Matt.
Oh, I'm on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Northeast Ohio, from Cleveland.
All right. I will admit, Mark was a little harsh in his introduction there. He was just like, "What do you want?"
Okay. No. Sorry, I've got like 3 devices going, and I had to turn it all off so I can concentrate on the phone call. Actually, I didn't have specifically something to say. I was going to kind of ask you guys if you were interested in my take. I'm new. I'm a newbie to all this.
Okay.
I
started maybe
absolutely.
I started maybe 2 years ago, so I feel like a kid, but I'm 53 years old. So I guess my point is I'm new to the whole fishing, watching it, from a consumer point of view. So I was curious if you had, a question.
Yeah, I do. I want to know how you...
Oh, sorry.
No, I want to know how you got into it.
My point is, honestly, I was a big golfer, and I've had some physical things happen to me where I couldn't do it anymore. And I used to bass fish years and years ago. Was never any good at it. I had a spinnerbait and called myself a bass fisherman. And I just was sitting around healing, and I had to figure out something physically that I could do that wasn't as strenuous as golf. And I've always loved to fish, and it sort of stuck. I got on YouTube and started going at it that way. So anyway, enough of my story. I was curious, when you guys talk about tournament trails and all of this local kind of stuff, that's completely over my head. I don't do that stuff. I don't understand how it works. I have fished 2 tournaments with a buddy of mine who does do all that stuff. So I was in the back of the boat, here, put this on and fish this. That's me. That's the consumer that I am. So I'm curious if you guys have a question. Obviously the tournaments, MLF, FLW, Bass, they're all looking for a consumer, and I'm the novice.
You're the consumer that they're trying to reach, that they're trying to get to be influenced by what you are watching on the live stream, to where they can look back with their sponsors and say, look, you sponsored us, your numbers went up, and you're the guy who's buying it.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm the guy. I sat and watched it all day yesterday because because I'm sitting with a neck brace on, and I can't do anything else.
Oh,
and it's
geez.
2 degrees outside.
Right. Okay, so here's my question. This is a question that I have for you then. Are you more likely to buy a lure? Let's say an angler catches a fish on a lure, doesn't really say much about it, but is on live all day. Are you going to kind of research, find out what that lure is because you saw the fish that he was catching on it? Or more likely, if a guy hard sells you and goes, boy, that XYZ worm really getting the job done, and then pumps it again on stage, what's more likely to influence you?
Well, maybe this has to do with my age, but I'm less apt to listen to the noise than I am to, I'm watching what he's throwing, and I go, okay, he's throwing a chatterbait. He's throwing a chatterbait, and why is he throwing it in that area? What is the reason for why he's using that bait? That's the way I kind of see it.
So performance.
Yeah, I look at what they're doing, and I'm trying to figure out. I don't have a boat. I probably won't ever have a boat. So, my experience is going to happen from the shore. So I have to figure out, I'm not going to be throwing a jigging spoon,
off the bank,
fish, exactly. I'm not fishing for suspended fish in 52 feet of water. That's not going to happen for me. So I have to pick out the things that I see that equate to something that has value to me. something that is of use.
So maybe yesterday, how Randy Howe was fishing his jerk bait, how some of the guys were working their jig, that type of stuff is what you're, and kind of that type of bait, something that you can throw off of the bank and say, oh, okay.
Absolutely. And it was all entertaining, whether it was watching Ish. Obviously it's a slower process. It's not a jerk bait. And he's flipping, and any minute, it could be that 6-pounder to what the leader was doing. Throwing a jerk bait, trying to fish the top of grass. I find it just, I'm enamored with it. I love it. I don't understand a lot of it from the professional, from what you guys do. It's over my head. I'm learning more. But I just dig it.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you calling in, man. Keep watching.
All right, guys. I appreciate your time.
All right, man. Take care.
Have a good one. Take care. All right, bye.
That's interesting.
The guy that is the angler that MLF and Bass Live and FLW Live are targeting.
Performance,
right there, and
he said it right there.
The performance is what he's and what also was key to him was being able to watch the anglers, compete.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a good call.
I agree. There were several calls coming in while he was on the line, so let's see here. I think this guy's been calling a bunch. Let's go to him or her. Him or her.
That'd be a shocker.
Hey, you're on. Who is this?
This is Wes Mabry.
What's going on, Wes?
Not much. You guys doing all right?
No, I've got 4 lovely inflated tires. I drive to work every morning knowing that should I get a flat,
safe and ready to go.
I'm safe and ready to go. Wes was the individual I showed on the show last week who sent me a tire repair kit after my misadventures on the way down to Amistad. So thank you very much. And I did not peel the Razorback off. I will keep the Razorback sticker on it in honor of you.
Great. We need all the help we can get.
All right. So what are your thoughts, Wes?
Well, I hadn't been listening to the show this morning, so I may be repeating myself, but I thought it was pretty good. I liked watching it. The problem is you can't get any work done because you're watching fishing all day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, for a spectator, you can't beat it. I can watch it on 3 different venues, 3 different shows. It's pretty good. I mean, I think there could have been things that were done better, but it was pretty good.
Now, are you going to be one of those guys, you're going to have all 3 fired up? There's 2 times this year where the FLW Tour, the Elite Series, and Major League Fishing, you're one of those guys who's going to watch all 3 at once.
I'm going to attempt, yes.
Okay.
Right, exactly. I like it. I like to watch fishing. I wish they would have stuck on somebody for longer. But so you can kind of see what they were doing. They switched back and forth a lot. But, it's pretty good. You guys haven't really – I don't think you've talked about it, but you're familiar with rodeo. You got the PRCA, Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association.
Yeah.
And about 20 years ago, some cowboys got together, bull riders, and went away and made the PBR, Professional Bull Riders Association. Very similar to what's happened in this, and it's really gone well. Unlike some of the other football things that haven't, it really went well, and both are still doing good.
Wes, I don't know the full story in this, but I have been a fly on the wall in a couple rooms with some influential anglers who are in MLF now, and there's a little bit of PBR influence in MLF.
Yeah,
there's some of the same players that are involved.
Do you remember the guy's name that was involved? But there was a guy who was...
It honestly, that was kind of the genesis of this whole thing, I would say, about 10 years ago. Wouldn't you,
Yeah,
Mark?
absolutely.
It's very interesting.
Right, and they both are doing well. You know what PBR does have? You can watch it free on cable TV, on CBS Network or CBS Sports. On some weekends, they'll have it during the day on CBS. But then they also have something you can pay extra for and watch it on Ride Pass. It would almost be like being able to pick, let's say, I want to watch Ish from Monroe yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I paid my extra money. Yeah. So they have a thing called Ride Pass. So there still is a free, but there's something you can pay a little extra for and bump up and get more than what you would just normally get for free.
Yeah.
I will also point out that while the PBR is flourishing, I believe a couple years ago, some of the top rodeo people decided to start the ERA, a rodeo-owned or a competitor-owned organization, and that made it about a half a year.
Yeah, that did not flourish.
So,
did not. I don't know if they had the money backing. I think the PBR had quite a bit of money, and maybe even CBS Sports helping them along, or CBS Corporation. And I don't know about the other one.
You mean they didn't have
rules question on the
hit it.
Rules question on MLF. Did you guys see Ish Monroe set the hook on the fish yesterday, pitching and flipping up close? Fish comes unhooked, slams into the side of his boat. He throws his rod down, and the hook came out of his mouth. The jig or whatever he was using came out of his mouth. He jumped down there to see if he could get the fish. He thought he'd knocked it out. Did you see that?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah, so I wonder, could he have kept that fish? Would there have been a penalty? So the fish is in the water. He sets the hook hard. Fish comes out of the water, and you hear it hit the side of the boat. When it hits the side of the boat, his lure comes flying out of the mouth. He drops his rod, runs back there, jumps down at the driver's seat trying to find the fish in the water.
Thinking it's floating because it's knocked out. Yeah, I have no idea on what that rules violation. Now, I know, I mean, I would assume you would have to treat it the same as if you pulled a fish out on top of a mat, it came off, and you're able to go over to the mat and get that fish.
And that's totally legal?
We don't know. I don't know that.
I think that it is like an interpretation rule that might be ruled differently in different leagues. But what's the difference? Look, what's the difference between a fish jumping off in midair as you go to net it and grabbing it, or a fish jumping in midair and you snatching it out of the air, and a fish coming off and you snatching it out of the water? I mean, as long as you have hooked it and got it in, I mean, where's that line between...
Well, hang on a minute. If the fish hits the boat, does he get a 2-minute penalty?
No, because it didn't come above the gunnel. He smoked it off the side of the boat.
He hit the side of the boat.
Yeah. No, that's a great rules question, Wes. I have no idea.
Yeah.
My gut would say that would be a scoreable bass. You can't call it a keeper anymore. You got to call it a scoreable bass. You can't call it a leaderboard. You got to call it a score tracker.
I understand. I got it.
All right.
Well, you guys are doing a great job on the show, and enjoy listening to you.
All right. Thanks, man.
You guys take it easy.
See ya. Good dude, man. Firefighter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard of stuff, guys, it's flooded. The lake is level with the dock.
Yeah.
Guy flips up next to a dock. Fish jumps, lands on top of the dock that's level with the water, is flopping around. He goes over there and grabs it.
Yeah.
The same thing on lily pads, on heavy matted vegetation. What's the difference between that and a guy breaking his line on a fish? I mean, that fish is no longer connected to you, but, we have seen that where the guy finds the line after he's completely broken it off and then hand lines it in.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Who do we have on?
Chad in Canada.
Chad, you finally got in, man. Sorry, dude. The phone lines have been blowing up.
No, that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
I was just
give me your thoughts, man.
Well, it's just the people who are doubting BPT, that are like rah, BASS, and all of that. I just don't get it. Like I said before in the feedback, it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome, the people who are, brainwashed by bass, that the bass of today is the same as the bass when Ray owned it and ran it. Ray did good things for the sport and for the anglers, and now it's just owned by an equity firm.
Well, are you talking about Bass?
Yep.
Well, Bass is not owned by an equity firm.
By that grouper, the guy that just took over.
Yeah, it's by Anderson Media. They're not a PEG. They're not a private equity group.
I'm out of this conversation. You guys go ahead, talk about your private. I'll just sit back.
And I will say this, all right. And Chad, you've been very vocal on the instant feedback, and I greatly appreciate it. They are doing what I believe. They are doing everything that they can from a reactionary movement to try and make things better over there, because I think you would agree with me, and if you don't, please tell me, that part of the reason why Bass has done what they've done recently is because of the mass exodus of the anglers to Major League Fishing. Now, we're going to see the longevity of everything that Bass has put out on the table now as to whether or not they can continue doing what they have put on the table for the 2019 season. I think that's an enormous question. But as far as the commitment that the ownership has made, all indications are right now that they're going to do whatever it takes to, number one, take care of the anglers, number two, be profitable, number three, take care of the sponsors, and number four, try to give the fans as much content as they can from a live standpoint and with the integration of promoting the guys that they have on the Elite Series. Now, having said that, your point is somewhat valid from the perspective of, well, they're just doing it for the money.
I just wrote down bottom dollar.
And honestly, I opened the show by talking about that with all three of these organizations, it is about profitability. You have to be able to make money. They're not in it just to make and create a platform for anybody out there that wants to be a professional angler. They have to be profitable. So we're going to see. I am not, and I think that's the beauty of what we do. What Matt and I talk about is we have no skin in the game with any of the three organizations. And we pretty much tell it like it is.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I like everything you guys do. And getting back to what you were saying about it, it's about making money. Ray Scott, don't get me wrong, he made money, but he did what was right for the sport as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure his intentions were absolutely from an angler standpoint, from a conservation standpoint. I mean, that was a big point with Ray back in the early days. And some people...
Kill switches, live wells,
safety. Some people disagree with that because, as we all know, when it first started out, I mean, they were stringing fish up on stringers and going, hey, look at these, you know? So in the beginning, but he realized the importance of conservation, and things changed and everybody adapted to the change. And I think with the formation of Major League Fishing, Matt and I have talked about it numerous times. It is change, and sometimes change is very difficult to accept. Agreed?
Oh, I totally agree. And the one thing you hit on, conservation, when is the last time you heard of BASS doing anything with conservation?
Oh, they do a ton.
Yeah,
of
you know, and I'll answer that.
I don't mean the members. I mean BASS.
Yeah, hang on. I'll answer that. Chad, I'll answer that by saying this. All right, we are very fortunate that we have Gene Gilliland, who is the Bass conservation
director for Bass. He used to head up the fisheries department in Oklahoma, and Bass actually hired him.
He lives, a couple miles from me. We are actually planning on getting Gene on this show in studio on a monthly basis to try and really talk about what Bass is doing to help tournament directors across the states, across the nation, from a conservation standpoint. And Gene is, he is the man. When it comes to conservation, he is the man. And they are doing a tremendous amount through Gene and utilizing Gene's knowledge and expertise to try and do more. Now, have they done everything they need to do? I don't know.
They've done a lot.
They've done a lot, but I can't answer that because I don't know all the details on it.
I can answer everything that they do. You can go to the Bassmaster website under the Nation tab. Just click on the conservation page, and there's a lot of stuff that Bass has done, Bass is involved with, from a political standpoint to cleaning up lakes to pollution to studies.
They have lobbyists in Washington, D.C. that their sole responsibility is trying to do what is in the best interest of the bodies of water that we fish on and the anglers. So they are enormously involved in conservation.
Well, that's good to hear. I don't read about it anywhere. So
it's buried because it's not sexy. It's not the 10-pounder. And I've actually had talks with Gene about this. It's hard to get people because it's not flashy.
Yeah.
It's actually just grunt work, hard work, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do. Bass has done a lot and has a rich history of doing a lot, which I'm interested to see what Major League Fishing does, because as of now, all I've seen that they've done is tout that they released the fish. I don't see lobbyists.
Yeah.
I don't see, the money going back to, and they might have, I just haven't seen it, the money going back to that. I don't see the natural resources that Bass has put in for 50 years.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, man, I appreciate your feedback on the instant feedback and everything you do as far as watching BTL and being involved with what we do, man.
Love the comments.
Yeah, thank you for putting on a great show. And like some other callers have mentioned, I really like that you're more frequent now and more stable in when your shows are going to be. Like you can bank on when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
As opposed to the early days. So I appreciate it a lot.
All right, man. Take care, Chad.
Yeah, you too.
All right. See you. Yeah,
you can seriously go to Bassmaster and click on, and it's buried. It is buried. Should it be that buried?
Yeah.
No. You can go to Bass Times and read it, but you click on the conservation tab, and there is page after page after page, whether it is alerts to things that are going on as far as Asian carp, as far as reducing fishing or laws and things that are going. They do cleanup efforts. You have a conservation director in every single state that goes through the Bass Nation for the conservation initiatives that works on habitat rehabilitation, and you have fisheries biologists in each state that are working with bass doing tournament studies on delayed mortality, release
I agree.
rate, keep rate.
I talked to Gene, in fact, a couple of weeks ago, and he's working on a couple of really neat projects from a conservation standpoint.
Here's one just says Junior Club cleans up 500 pounds of trash. Tampa Bay Junior Bassmasters. Here's Lake Okeechobee needs storage reserve. Sport fishing industry applauds bill to enhance habitat conservation.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're going to take one more call, and then we're going to wrap up this show. Dude, it is rock today. Very, very good. Great comments.
The hour goes fast.
We may have to do more of these, but I am thoroughly, thoroughly thankful for the amount of input that people have given on the instant feedback and by calling in today.
Yeah, the instant feedback is interesting. Matt P. in North Carolina said, did you all notice Bass went live yesterday with no tourney? Oh, go to the Bass website and see what their live schedule is for the next 3 days, and you will see that they are live today, tomorrow, and we'll cap it off with a Zona live on Friday right on top of the MLF broadcast. So the gloves are officially off, Mark.
What did you say before? I go, it's not a battle. Might be a battle, my friend.
It's a battle.
It's a battle. All right, last call of the show. Let's go to it. Hey, who is this?
Hey, guys, it's Matt Ellis.
What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
Hey, not much. Just trying to keep up with you guys, Bass Live, and everything else that's going on. It seems like everybody's trying to mess up my work day and be a little distraction.
How about that fantasy fishing draft last night that we
I got all the rosters sitting in front of me, Matt. That was pretty fun.
It's Matt from the Outdoor Scoreboard, him and David. David's in Kentucky. You are in Tennessee. You can check out their podcast, but they do the fantasy fishing draft where there's 10 of us, some industry people, some guys who are just fans, and you all call in, and he basically made it like a football fantasy draft where you go 1 through 10 based on your draft order, and you pick 6.
How come I didn't get an invite?
Because you weren't in the 10, so that's not the point.
Right.
The point is you pick 6 anglers, and then you play 5 every tournament, and you get points based on it and bonus points. So Matt is the one who headed that up. So we had our draft last night, and I'm pleased with my team.
It's solid. It's solid. Very solid.
Matt's got a solid team. He's still got the belt. He's still the champion. To be the man, you got to beat the man. So it's going to be interesting this year.
Yeah.
With all these new names.
So what are your thoughts, Matt?
Well, yesterday they had a few little technical glitches, and that's kind of expected, I guess. But I think today's coverage looks a little bit better. One thing one of your previous callers had mentioned that it's kind of pertinent to my job is these guys are watching this stuff happen live, and there's techniques in those areas that if they're working, those guys are going to run to the store and buy those products. And, that's a chain reaction through the whole industry on how people can keep up with the demand for a lot of these techniques in their areas that normally you didn't find out about back in the day on TNN. You have watched it in the wintertime. It's already happened before 4, 5, 6 months before. Now we're finding out within minutes and hours. So it's really affecting the industry too.
Matt, let me ask you this, because you are entrenched in the industry. The post-game show yesterday that they did. All 40 guys came through. It was, 2.5, 3 hours. Went for a long time. Do you think it would be more effective by only taking the top, 8 guys, top 10 guys, and letting them focus on success? Because, hey, we had a caller earlier, guy who's just getting into it, said, hey, I'm going to make my purchase based upon performance, what I see and what I do. Does somebody that does not have success on the water really move the needle? And do those guys really need to focus on their lack of success by spending time talking to them about their day? Or from a performance standpoint, is it more important on focusing on their success rather than the failure?
I personally would be more interested in, like you said, looking at maybe the top 10, those guys that had the most success. Those are the ones that, they want the cameras on those guys anyways. That's going to be the most entertaining. I watched a lot of that post-tournament interview things, and a lot of guys came up there who didn't do as well. And, they're asking them a lot of basically the same questions. And it's really getting, it really bogs down your interest level. Of course, that late in the day, a lot of people aren't going to be able to watch all 40 guys.
I know there are a couple guys that came up and one of them had like 5 pounds and like 3 fish. And he's like, I threw those Berkeley baits all over the lake today. So I sat there, I was going, I don't know if I'd have said that one after today. I might have kept that one in the back pocket till a better day.
I understand. It's just like if they weighed in with fish, everybody wants a chance to talk about their sponsors. That's what's one of the appeals of them joining the league, is that they were going to be able to do that. And but you got to balance it with the entertainment value, and it's sometimes at one point it's just overload and it's just too much. I guess less interesting content.
Yeah,
it was not thrilling. There was no thrilling aspect to it.
It was somewhat painful to see what those guys, the disappointment from their lack of performance.
But I understand the concept. I understand why they had it.
But it's not going to move the needle.
Right, but you had to have that. In theory, in theory, it works.
It does not.
In theory, it works.
No, it doesn't.
Look, we're going to hop on the boat. We get all this. There's going to be all these fans here. They're going to get to talk to the guys who just smashed them. You're going to have video of them catching fish in the background.
Send them over to the side and let the top 10 have their day because they busted their butt on the water. They deserve the time.
But if you didn't catch them,
then you don't deserve to be up there.
So isn't part of the whole thing that everybody gets... Sorry, Matt, that you're a part of this, but you're going to have to bear with us. We have like 3 minutes here. But is it part of the whole thing why these guys came over was you're going to be guaranteed exposure to where even if you didn't catch them, that guy who's sponsoring you can watch you in the post-game show roll through, and for those 3 or 4 minutes, everything that's on your boat in Jersey. But people aren't going to watch for 3
hours, Matt. What I'm saying is send those guys, send the 30 guys that did not catch them very well, send them over to an area. If anybody wants to talk to them, they can go over there and they can talk.
Loser pen?
Dude, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. Showcase the guys that went out and busted butt.
I agree.
Give them their time.
What you don't understand is I was saying in theory. You think about in theory when you're putting all this together.
There's a lot of theory out there.
Hell, maybe we're the only 2 people that thought it wasn't the most thrilling and exciting thing we've ever seen. Maybe there are people losing their minds from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. across coast to coast going, oh my God, Jared Littner's rolling in. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're just the ones who didn't understand the excitement that was encapsulated in the roll-in.
I'm telling you right now, have a station where those guys can roll through and they can talk about their day on video, but don't take away from what the live format should be in showcasing the top 8 or 10 guys.
Just make this really interesting, Matt, and have a third opinion and call us both wrong.
No, I think I think Mark's right. I think you're right too, man. I mean, I understand that they want to get everybody, exposed, but it seemed a little manufactured yesterday with the energy level of introducing the guys. I don't know how many people were there in attendance, but it didn't seem like there was many. So it was a little manufactured. But I think I guess the optimist would say, hey, if I didn't make the top 10 or 15 anglers, I've got a day off to think about it and come back and. Maybe you are that guy the next time around.
Wow. Good stuff.
All right, man.
Anyway, guys, I'll get back to get back to work here. Good job. I really enjoy the more frequent shows now. It kind of helps pass the day for sure.
All right, man. Take care, Matt.
See ya.
All right, see you. A lot of people are agreeing with me.
What? Well, no, I am agreeing with you. I'm just saying why it happened.
In theory, I get it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying when all this is going down and you're getting guys that are coming over and you're signing sponsors on and these anglers are going to MLF and saying, okay, if I go with your organization, what can I promise Ozarka Water that I can provide them?
I've got a solution. Here's what you do. And you called it the loser's pen, but that's not. It's pretty funny.
That's what it is.
They could get a sponsor gig for that, man.
It's just got like low end malt liquor in there. It's got it's got a Ken, and you kind of call a guy out of it, and he comes out. They have to stay in there for 10 minutes.
They already know where everybody is.
You got Lurch going. If anybody would like to interview someone in the loser's pen, it is located to the left of the stage.
All I'm saying is that, look, you have the manpower, you have the equipment, you have the technology. Send them over in another area to where, hey, guys, if you want, here's your opportunity to talk about your day. They film it, they throw it out on the website on demand, and then you give the live post-game show to the guys that freaking deserve it.
That's a great idea. If you
then you get the exposure. Mm-hmm. If you failed, you still get your exposure.
This is making your point. I did not stick around to listen to Randy Howell weigh in. Once it got dark and they were lighting the thing up and I was eating dinner and the girlfriend was calling and stuff, I said, screw it. I already saw what my Justin Lucas interview was because he was last. I wanted to see what he had to say.
Yeah.
I missed out on Randy. I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to hear him talk about the lovely jerkbait and the Daiwa rods and reels and the flat top. So here's the thing. If it had been the top 10, I'd have sat there. I'd have watched Randy.
Yeah.
I'd have watched Randall Tharp.
Yeah.
I'd have watched Gerald Spohr. I'd have watched all those guys in the top 10, and then I'd have gone to the Major League Fishing website and checked up on my anglers.
Yeah.
And now you're getting double. You're getting them to watch it live, and you're getting them page clicks, and you're getting them to look at comments. And it takes a minute and a half to put a camera in the guy's face and say, tell me about this debacle that we all just witnessed.
Yeah. Dead on, man. Dead on. That's why we roll. That's how we roll. We just suggest stuff. Let's see if anybody's listening. All right, Matthew. Pretty good show today.
It was.
Yeah, we're going to have to do this more often. Greatly appreciate everybody that called in. If we didn't get to your phone call, we apologize. But they are live. Group 2, day 1.
I've seen it. It looks like a much better stream today already.
Hey, and as you mentioned, Group 2 is loaded. Loaded.
Not that Group
talent.
1 isn't. But when it comes to trophies and hardware, Group 2 takes the cake.
Yeah. Probably a lot more hardware in Group 2 than Group 1, but the rising personalities along with the seasoned vets that have had enormous amount of success in Group 2. Now, you made a point yesterday. We don't know this. Are they going to flip it for the next event? Group 2 goes to Group 1. Are they going to mix them up? Who knows? Did we know, and this is the last point I'm going to make, did we know who was going to be on the live today prior to them going live?
No.
I really think that's something they need to do. What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
Nah, that's nitpicking.
No, would it not be better if you could promote and say, hey, Kevin Van Dam's going to be live today beginning at 8:45?
Yeah.
Make it a little easier.
Or you look at it and see that your favorite angler isn't, so you don't tune in. It's tomatoes there.
All right.
I think that's
I understand. All right, what do you have lined up this weekend, man? It is going to be gorgeous this weekend.
I got a fun weekend.
What are you doing?
So my buddy's in town from Kansas. He's got a sea nymph, Mark. He brought a sea nymph. The boat.
A little 2-man?
No, it's a deep V hull aluminum.
Oh.
We're going to Ulaga.
Okay.
And we're fishing giant gizzard shad for blue cats on Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Then Saturday, I got a jackpot on dang it, I could never remember the name of this lake. It's the Clearwater Lake up by Skytook.
Yeah.
I got a jackpot on Skytook.
Yeah.
And then Sunday's a Super Bowl.
Very nice. Good stuff. All right, folks, once again, we thank you a tremendous thank you out to everybody that participated in our first viewer-only show. Good stuff. We're going to see if we can do this again, maybe once a month, maybe once every couple of weeks. We will just see how things work out. Next week, Tuesday, he is booked. Boyd Duckett's going to be live via Skype. Get his take on everything that went down at Toho. Hopefully Monday, we are leaving Monday open. Hopefully we can get the winner on Monday. And then Wednesday, a treat. We're going to have Mark Menendez live from, where's the first stop at? St. John's? Mm-hmm. He's going to be live from the St. John's River, giving us an update on everything that's going down at the very first Elite Series event. So an action-packed next week. 3 shows a week. Sounds like everybody likes that, Matthew.
Yeah, solid.
All right. Very, very good stuff. Everybody be safe. Try and stay warm. Stay tuned. We're out of here.